a little bit of context on Mahna. Mahna was actually out here quite recently in Bali, and I think it was a bit of a bittersweet trip, had a bit of a sad ending. She unfortunately left with a broken bone, but she came with a very open heart. Is that a good segue?
Yes, that's perfect, yes.
There we go. And we actually climbed Mount Batur together, which is this volcano here in Bali. We had to get up at like 2 a.m., get in a van and drive up to the north, climb to the top. We saw sunrise. I mean, it's incredible, and it was so fun hanging out with you. And I'm very grateful that you're here today. And even more so, I'm so grateful to see the growth you have experienced and incredible business you're building for yourself, because you know your following is significant, and the business you built around it is even more significant. Like, I think what you're doing is you're building an incredible foundation, and I want to let you take it away, Mahna, because you're truly a creator that a lot of people should aspire to look up to, and take a lot of lessons from.
Thank you so much. Well, I want to start off by thanking you, Christian, and the whole Lost Creator Academy and the Lost LeBlanc team has truly changed my life in just a year. So I am very, very grateful for your mentorship and for this course. It's truly changed my life, and I hope my story can inspire some of you today. So let's dive in. I'm Mahna. I'm from the Northern Virginia area, and if you are from this area, then you might know that it's very much like follow the rules, get a good job, do the right thing. So that's exactly what I did my whole life. Studying, working hard. I went to Virginia Tech, still in the Virginia area. I got a degree in computational modeling and data analytics because that's what my family wanted me to do. I'm a Persian American, so my family were immigrants to the United States, and there's a lot of pressure on you to just fulfill this one certain type of mold, get a good job, start a family, all these things. And so I did it. I followed the rules. I started to do it. Immediately after graduating, I got a job at a Big Four consulting firm, Ernst & Young. I thought that was the dream. It was in their it was in their commercial sector. I was like, yes, I'll get to travel. But as I found, immediately started working, and my soul felt like it was dying. I was traveling a little bit, but it was for the job, and I started to get eye twitches, and I started to get health problems as well, and I would complain to people around me about it, and they'd just be like, oh, that's just how it is, this is just the grind, you just need to go through it. And when I wasn't traveling, I was working in the DC area, and I was doing a 2-hour each way, each day commute, and truly felt like so much of my spark, so much of my passion was just dying. Like I wasn't me anymore, and I felt my soul, like I was 23, 24 years old, and I felt my soul was dying. And I was looking to my mentors in the company, the people who had been doing it for so long, who had been supposedly crushing it, the managers and everything, who were miserable. And I was like, I don't want to grow to become that, you know? It wasn't inspiring for me. And it basically reached a breaking point of one day on one of these commutes. This was sort of the moment that shook me and woke me up. I was sitting in my commute, and then I looked in the rearview mirror of the person behind me, and it was a woman that looked like me in 20 years. And I just broke down. I started crying because I realized that if I didn't make a change in my life, I would be stuck doing the exact same thing I was in that moment for the next 20 years, for the next 40 years, until I'm old, until I retire, and then my life and my passions are all over. So that really, really shook me to want to make a change and to want to change my life. I didn't know how. But one day I was just scrolling on Instagram, and I came across a travel couple on my Explore feed. And that basically very much inspired me. I dove into their story. I was like, oh my gosh, who are these people? They're traveling the world. They're getting paid for it. What's going on? And so I made an anonymous Instagram page. It was originally Maza Travel. My name is Mahna, but I made it under this alias because I was so nervous coming from the Washington, D.C. area. There's a lot of that judgment. What are people gonna think? What are they gonna say? I'm posting pictures online. I'm writing captions that are inspiring. Like, what are people gonna think? So I made it completely anonymously and just started editing and posting all of my favorite travel photos. That was in 2019. And it was just sort of a passion. So I started doing it because I loved it. I grew up, I loved hiking, loved travel, loved photography, but never really believed it was something I could pursue. So I just started doing it for fun. And then COVID hit, and so I asked my job if I could work remotely, and finally, for the first time in my life, moved out of Virginia, drove across the country, went to Denver, Colorado, started just working remotely and also trying to just take pictures and travel and hike on the side. Like, I would go on road trips to Wyoming, to Utah, whenever I could, I would really adventure and get out there, and started doing things that I love on the side of my corporate job. But yeah, I was so worried what people would think, and finally broke out of the Virginia area and like broke out of that mold. And then in 2020 is really the big game-changing moment for me. Is I came across Tony Robbins' content. And if you aren't familiar with Tony Robbins, he's a motivational speaker, peak performance coach, and started doing his events. And basically the biggest change, the biggest lesson for me from those events was that if you have a goal or if you have a dream, something that you want to accomplish, find a mentor or find a role model who's doing what you want to do and model their steps. And almost like magic, that's when Christian's Lost Creator Academy popped up. And I really resonated with Christian's story. I mean, everything just had lined up, from Ernst & Young, corporate background, feeling my soul was dying. Immediately dove in.
It's crazy how similar the story is, actually.
It's crazy. It's amazing. And what I've found through this journey as well is that the people that you meet from pursuing your passion, like, we're all so similar, but you take that courageous leap of faith, and then you start to meet people that you're more aligned with. But basically took that massive leap of faith, signed up for Lost Creator Academy. And that was the huge game-changing decision for me, because I set a goal when I signed up for Lost Creator Academy that I wanted to be location independent and build a business in 1 year. And Lost Creator Academy helped me do that, which blows my mind. I signed up in July of 2020, and then the next year I was able to surpass my corporate income and quit my corporate job and do this full time. And so I am so immensely grateful. But yeah. Thank you.
That's so cool. You did it way faster than I did. I'll add that. Like, that's the beautiful thing about it. Just seeing how quickly you were able to take those teachings and run with it.
It was so helpful. I would spend so much time, just like all my time, any free time, like weekends and everything, just watching all of the videos. I wanted so badly to learn more, to grow, to become a better photographer. I had no idea how to use any of the manual camera settings or anything. I would go to the same park, like practice over and over. Like, I went on one trip once, and I think all of my photos from that trip were blurry or out of focus. Like, they're all unusable, but I just wanted to learn so badly. And like, Lost Creator Academy really does provide you everything that you need, like every single thing, photo side, video side, and business side as well. I'm so grateful for everything that I've learned from it. And then what really started to take off for me as far as the business was after living in Colorado for a year. I dreamed of traveling to Hawaii. And then in 2021, finally also took that crazy leap, decided to move to Hawaii, and really started like really getting into a flow, creating content, while still working remotely. So this was sort of where that sacrifice came in, because I was still working my corporate job, but I was working East Coast hours while living in Hawaii. So that's Pacific time, that's a 6-hour time zone change. So I was literally working 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. I was exhausted, and my corporate job had become very toxic. It was almost like the universe had put me in a position where that was becoming so bad, even though it was remote. And then at the same time, I was getting more and more opportunities on the business side of things. And so I felt such a strong pull that I had to make a decision. I felt like I was halfway in, halfway out. I was still holding on to these golden handcuffs from the corporate job. And then in May of 2021, decided to take an unpaid leave of absence for the summer and just give everything that I had to content creation full time. And that's when things just started to flow. It's sort of that like hockey puck of growth that you see, that when you really commit yourself to your passions, things start to flow and things start to work out. And so yeah, fast forward to now, since then I've been traveling the world full time. I'm making 6 figures this year. I've worked with brands like United Airlines, Visit Florida. I'm a Prana adventurer, which is literally my dream brand. And most importantly, I get the opportunity to inspire people to live their dreams, which is, it feels like such a dream for me. And it's all because I took the action and invested in LCA, and it's paid for itself hundreds of times over. And so I'm very grateful. And that's my biggest message to you that I want to conclude with, is that when I was getting started on this journey, I was so nervous of so many successful creators out there already. Is there room for me? Like, should I even show up? Should I even share my story? But what I've found, that your story and your way of sharing it will inspire someone in a way that someone else's story can't. So show up for that person. And it can even be yourself. Like, a lot of the times my content is speaking to me in 2019 who felt so stuck and so sad and so scared. So show up for that person and change your life. And yeah, let's live our most extraordinary lives.
I love it. Wow, you're such a gifted speaker too, Mahna. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. And honestly, I love that point though that you just shared, is that it's not just the fact that you can help yourself escape a 9-to-5 or travel the world. It's like you can really have positive impact as you have. I mean, I know Mahna's stories are often helping people see the world through a positive lens, and it's been really cool to see how you uplift people. I'm sure the impact, can't even be measured. So keep on with what you're doing, Mahna, as I'm sure you will, and I'm very proud of all the progress both you and Ishan have pulled off. It's unbelievable. The slide deck.